We'll open it up to questions if you just want to raise your hand, and we will call on you and we'll get underway. Go ahead, Dominic.
Hey, Donnie, just wanted to know what your feelings are going into your first spring training as manager, and what are the feelings like, the emotions and everything surrounding it?
Hey Dom. Oh man, I'm pumped. The It's been great. Got down here over a week ago and had getting out of that cold up there in Pittsburgh. It was freezing, and I guess cold is relative because everyone in Florida was freezing. But the energy's been great. It's been a great vibe, and we've got pretty much almost everybody's in camp already. So it's really exciting. I'm excited about the group and looking forward to spring training in the season.
Go ahead, Tio. Oh, you're on mute.
There you go. Well, a lot of people would like to put me on mute. But anyway, Donnie, I don't know how much you can speak to this or not, but you're adding another power hitter to your lineup in Osuna. Can you speak to how excited you are, if you're allowed to comment on it, since I know it's not official?
Yeah, not official yet. And not sure how much we can share until that's official. But if everything goes well, excited to add Ozuna's bat to the lineup, and it's really when you talk about the seasons that he's had, last year being quote unquote down year, still 21 home runs and a bunch of RBIs and a big power bat that we can put in the middle of our order.
Go ahead, Mark. You're good to go.
Thanks. Hey Don, what can Brandon Lau, a bat like that and a veteran like that, bring to your team?
Man, Brandon brings presence, and obviously the back of his baseball card speaks for itself. The impact that he can have on a ball club and the experience that he's had in Tampa. Really excited to add Brandon to the club, and you see the home runs, but just a professional hitter that brings a big presence to the Pirates lineup.
Gotcha. And then just real quickly, Mangum and Montgomery, they fit in somewhere too?
Oh man, I mean, when you talk about competitor, Jake Mangum, he did it against us last year, and just he's a fierce competitor, baseball player, willing to do anything and everything to win a baseball game. And Montgomery, I mean, seeing his side yesterday, seeing him last year against us, and then watching his side yesterday, just an electric arm, and really excited to add his repertoire to our pen.
Thank you.
Hey, Ron, thanks for joining us. Go ahead and go.
Hey, Ron Blum from AP Dot.
Hey, Ron.
Looking at what Toronto's success last year, did that reinforce even more the importance of contact? And obviously, you guys need an improvement on that. But in an age where everyone is looking for power, that contact is a way to win games too.
Yeah, they were elite. And when you're talking about Toronto, the ability that they had to make contact and drive the baseball, really rare to be able to do that. And I think that, being able to add the guys that we were able to add this offseason, we added some power, we added O'Hearn. I mean, when you talk about contact, the ability that he's got and the approach that he's already shared with our hitting guys and with some of the players, and excited to bring him into camp. And Ozuna as well. Ozuna's a professional hitter. Brandon Lau bringing the power. It's something that I think all hitters are always working on, is finding that ability to blend the hitting ability with the power, and finding ways to do that. And we've had some guys that have had success doing that, especially coming up through the minors.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks, Ron. Go ahead, Ashley.
There we go. Hey, Donnie. Ashley with WTA here. With the addition of Azuna, there's been a lot of chatter about, Andrew McCutchen, thoughts on bringing him back. Where does the organization stand on potentially bringing him back or moving on from him? And where, any detail you can provide as far as where conversations are at, if that is something they're so interested in?
Yeah, well, you know what? I think that would be a better question for Ben in a little bit, as far as roster goes. Just personally, having played with Kutch, back in 2007, and having seen his career and understanding everything that he means to the team and to the city, and just the career that he's had overall. Kutch is always going to be a Pirate in everyone's heart, and respect him and everything that he means to the team in the city. And not sure exactly where this goes.
Go ahead, Colin.
Hey, Donnie. You kind of mentioned this earlier with presence, but through bringing in a lot of guys who have been leaders in their previous clubhouse, how much are you looking forward to seeing how everything kind of gels together over these next 6 weeks and building clubhouse chemistry and putting the team together in that way?
Really excited about it. The guys that we've been able to bring in, on from a playing standpoint, have had success. I mean, when you're talking about, Lowell that's been in Tampa, playing in the playoffs. O'Hearn has experienced that. Ozuna won a World Series. To be able to bring in those guys that have been at that level and understand what it takes over the course of 162 to get to the playoffs, and that's the goal, is to be playing more than 162. So to bring guys in with that experience, with that pedigree, to help in the clubhouse for the guys that are coming back, to help them understand what that's going to take is really cool.
And what have you heard from baseball people about Ozuna in the clubhouse?
Man, you know what? So Ozuna and I were teammates back in 2015 and 2016 in Miami, and he's unbelievable, man. I mean, when you talk about a fierce competitor that enjoys the game of baseball, has fun playing the game of baseball, and knows that he's a really good hitter and very confident. He's going to be a big presence to bring in, and I enjoyed the time that I got to spend with him in Miami as a teammate, and really pumped that he's a Pirate this year.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Donnie, I'll follow up right there. How do you think specifically he might help a guy like O'Neill, and what does O'Neill need to do to kind of take that next step?
The thing that's fascinating about Ozuna, and appreciate the question as it pertains to O'Neill, the thing that's fascinating about Marcel is that he transcends race or anything. He's a teammate, and the feedback that the firsthand experience that I had with him in Miami, and the feedback that we've gotten from everybody in Atlanta, is that he helps everybody be better. Excited what that is going to mean in regards to your question for O'Neill too. To have Marcel be in the clubhouse to be able to help him. I think Marcel is going to help a lot of guys. I think O'Hearn and Lau will too. But Marcel specifically with O'Neill. And I mean, O'Neill had a heck of an offseason. He's been working really hard. He got after it right away. And O'Neill knows what's at stake, and has been really working hard, and is he was fully committed to getting better personally, and fully committed to helping the team win in any way he can.
Go ahead, Jenna.
Hey, Donnie, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. You mentioned excitement a number of times throughout this little Zoom here. What's your excitement level for what the pitching staff is going to be capable of this season? And of course, I feel like I can't ask you that without asking about Paul Skeens and just your excitement to see what he's going to do this year.
Yeah, man. I am. It is exciting. And when you talk about the Pirates, it is the rotation and the bullpen, the pitching staff, that is going to be the foundation for the team. They showed that last year, headlined by Paul, and in true Paul fashion, he's down here working his tail off every day out there, had a live BP yesterday, and he's winning the Cy Young, and that's not what drives Paul. Winning is what drives Paul. And we're going to win in Pittsburgh. And that's the thing that he wakes up every day, that drives him to be the best version of himself, and that he uses that to help his teammates and drive them as well. I think that when you talk about the pitching staff, the arms that we have, the depth, it's an exciting group that is headlined by, Paul, Mitch, Bubba, Jones is coming back. Chandler was electric last year. Carmen pitched really big innings. Santana and Soto in the pen with Montgomery, Nicholas and Matson. I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody because it is so deep. And then we've got the younger guys coming up as well. Barco is throwing the ball really well this spring so far in his side. So just really excited about the staff and the team in general.
Hey, Jason, go ahead.
Hey, Donnie, wanted to ask you specifically about Henry Davis. I'm assuming you've seen him, today or the past couple of days or whatever. What have your impressions been of him, and what does he need to do to, kind of add more behind the plate offensively?
Man, so he looks really good. His swing looks really good. He made some adjustments this offseason. Excited to see those play out over the course of spring training and through the season. I think the thing that stands out to me about Henry is his work ethic and his desire and his desire to be really, really good and great at what he does. I mean, let's not forget he came up as a right fielder because the catching was we didn't think he was going to be able to catch, and he's turned himself into a guy that got Gold Glove votes last year. He's a guy that can be real. He was impactful behind the plate. The pitching staff trusts him, and I would not bet against Henry Davis in making adjustments and getting better, and he showed that this offseason offensively.
Hey, Hannah, you can go next. Go ahead, Hannah.
You hear me? Oh, okay, perfect. Oh, sorry. I have a thing on my camera. My bad. Jeez. Rookie over here. Hey, DK, quick question for you just about the World Baseball Classic. We've seen over the past couple of weeks, a lot more guys are being announced onto rosters. It's one of those once in a lifetime opportunities, but how do you as a manager navigate something like that for guys like Kyle Nicholas or Nick Gonzalez, for example, who might be fighting for a big, important roster spot or need to prove themselves in a certain way? How do you kind of value that, navigate it, and look at it in a competition standpoint in spring?
Yeah, as we go through spring and really excited. I mean, it's really cool to see the excitement around the World Baseball Classic and really awesome for all of our guys to be able to have the opportunity to play in it. And I think that when you talk about the competition that they're going to be facing, it's going to be stiff too. There's going to be pressure in the way that they're going about it. They've been on the team. We know what they can do, and they've gotten better too. I guess in regards to those two in particular, with Kyle and Nick. Nick came into camp. He's here. He's looking great. He's made some adjustments offensively too. Kyle threw a bullpen today and looked phenomenal. As far as the competition goes, we're going to let that play out throughout spring. They'll be here until the first, and then hopefully they go long into the tournament. But when they get back, we'll just continue to evaluate and look to put the best team on the plane going up to New York.
Hey, Mike, you're good to go.
Hey, Don, you mentioned more than 162 is the goal a little while ago. What do you think it'll take to get there in terms of a number, and what will get you guys there?
Ooh, you know what? It's hard to put a number on any of that. I'll leave that to you all to speculate on what those numbers are. We can see there's always projections and stuff in baseball. I think that what it's going to take for the Pirates is everybody, lack the cliche where we need to pull in the rope in the same direction. We need to be a team. We need to go out and play good baseball together and rely on each other to pick each other up throughout a long season. And I think doing that together, we're going to win as many games as we can and be playing meaningful baseball in September, looking to play all the way into October.
Go ahead, Ethan.
Hey, Donnie, we saw the Pirates social media post a little video yesterday of Paul facing off with Connor Griffin and BP. Just tell me what your impression of that first initial matchup was, and is it a priority for Connor to face as many top MLB pitchers on the Pirates roster this spring?
That was fascinating yesterday, and it was really cool. I mean, that's a tough at bat for Connor. I think Paul, I don't know how, I didn't see the post, so I'm not sure how in depth it got, but I know Paul got him on 3 fastballs the one time, and then Connor came back and made a good adjustment and stayed on a slider and hit a line drive to left. It was really cool to see those two going at it, and any experience that Connor can get against any of the major league pitchers is going to be really valuable.
Hey, Danny, you're good to go. Danny D'Amelio, I should say. All right, we'll go to Dan Potash.
Hey, Donnie, just to kind of go off what Ethan asked as far as Connor is concerned, what do you want after everything he did last year at multiple levels throughout the minor league system? What's that next or final step that you believe he needs to take or you want to see from him during spring training that makes you feel, okay, this kid's ready to play at the top level?
I want to see Connor be Connor. And really, the development that he showed last year, I mean, he's 19 years old, going to be 20 here shortly in a month or two. And, when you talk about what he was able to do last year, going from A ball all the way up to double A and the impact that he had and how I mean, just the maturity level and the physicality and the, playing shortstop for the first time full time. It was amazing what he's able to do, and I think that for me, I want Connor to be himself and continue to work the way that he does because he's a special kid and he's a special player.
Kevin Gorman, you can go.
DK, Paul in his rookie year was Nationally Rookie of the Year and, had some unhittable pitches. Last year showed a more well-rounded repertoire and won the Cy Young Award. What does he have to do to take his game to another level in terms of being a dominant pitcher? And is there something he needs to do, whether, concentrate on fewer pitches or just go deeper into games? Like what is the goal for Paul to be even better this year?
Consistency. I think that continuing to see him do the same thing that he's done, he's set the bar pretty high when you talk about the first 2 years and what he's been able to accomplish, and really want Paul to just focus on being consistent and knowing that there's nobody that drives Paul more than Paul, and he is looking to be great. He's always looking to try to find an edge in any way that he can, and the edges that Paul Skeens has to find are it's on the edges. It's very small, and he's always looking to try to do that. And I think that as Paul continues to work, and the thing that's fascinating to me about him is that he's got the stuff and he's got the pitchability, and he's always trying to get better, which is a deadly combination.
All right, we got time for a few more. Go ahead, Ashley.
Hey, Donnie, thanks. Your first full season officially as a manager, just take me through kind of like what your thoughts and emotions are right now, and maybe anything different you want to change going into this season.
Oh man, I mean the emotions are the excitement is real. It's high. I think that there's always excitement going into spring, and looking at this one with the moves that we've been able to make in the offseason to pair with the guys that we have coming back. um, it's real. It's you can feel it around camp. You can feel it in the clubhouse, out on the fields. Guys are excited to go. And for me personally, just it's the same. I mean, I'm that excitement is real. It's a good vibe and pumped to get to the field every day and be out there with the staff and the players. I think that for me, as far as anything changing, just really want to be that stable force for the staff and for the players, and to again let them know that I'm there for them and with them. And whether highs, we talk about the roller coaster all the time, and how do we, as a staff, how do we stay in the middle and try to keep the players off the roller coaster?
Theo, you can wrap us up with Donnie here. You're on mute.
Yep. Donnie, you not oversaw, but you put together the workout schedule the last 6 years in spring training as the bench coach. Who takes over that responsibility this year, and do you think the workouts will really look much different than they have when you put them all together?
So Sean Bowman and Chris Negron are going to be doing the schedule together. Bowman is the field coordinator, and Chris as the bench coach, and they're doing a great job so far. There are some changes that we're going to make as far as the daily stuff goes, and in different things. It's not going to be drastically different, but there will be changes throughout the day that we've talked through as a staff and that we're trying to implement. Still focusing on the fundamentals, playing fundamentally sound baseball, and focusing on being more aggressive in certain areas on the bases, having a sound approach at the plate, and staying in the zone as a pitching staff. And I think that it's something that we'll continue to focus on, is that aggressiveness and a gritty blue collar style of play out there on the field for the Pittsburgh fans.
All right. Donnie, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. If everyone holds tight here, Ben will be joining us here momentarily. So, Donnie, thanks for everything, and we will see you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Is being recorded.
All right, everyone. So once again, just you can go ahead and start by raising your hand, and we will start it off with Ben.
Sorry for the wait. USA 5, Canada nothing. I got distracted by women's hockey, but let's jump into baseball.
All right, Mark, you can lead us off.
All right, I'm honored for that privilege here. Thank you, guys. Ben, that deal you made with the Rays, that was like the fifth three-way deal they've made in the last couple of years. How hard are three-way deals to put together, and if you can shed any light on how that happened?
Yeah, in that particular case, we were having separate conversations with Tampa and Houston, and for a while it sort of went down the two paths by themselves, and at some point, as those conversations advanced, we all realized that kind of simultaneously all realized that we might be able to solve everything for everybody if we just turn this into a three-way. I thought we had made some progress directly with Tampa, some progress directly with Houston, but we all realized at some point it'd be easier just to get the three of us. So it literally just turned into a three-way text at that point, and we were able to get the deal done that way. And Tampa does a lot of them because I think they are really good at what they do, and they are always, very clear, well prepared. They have a good idea of value, and they're creative and willing to share ideas. So it's not surprising they jump into a lot of those things.
Cool. Thank you.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Ben, can you take us into the background of how the Ozuna signing came to be and what he's going to mean to this team as a designated hitter and a power bat in the middle of the lineup, and also how that affects your thoughts of maybe previously talking about rotating through the DH spot now that you have a pair of left-handed first basemen?
Yeah, well, some work to do still, on I guess what was reported, but I hear where you're coming from. I think we've continued to look for opportunities to build depth to our lineup, build depth to our offense. We chased all kinds of things this winter, some of which we were able to land, kind of through the holiday period, and then been working ever since then. And just for most of January, just for whatever reason, we just weren't able to land on anything that we liked. So, but we were still working at it and hopeful that we'd be able to find some opportunities to continue to add to the offense as we went into spring training. So hopefully that we've done that. If in terms of the second part of the question, I think Donnie wants that DH spot to be available to players to rotate through. I think it'll be a combination. Certainly we feel better about the depth of the lineup, the ability to not just get offense out of the DH spot, but different spots on the field, and trust that we have a group of veteran players who are going to be aware of the need to, occasionally take a day or, use a DH day. It will require some adjustments from some of them, certainly defensively and where they are on the field, but we've got good conversations about that and confident in the group's ability to do that.
Go ahead, Don.
Hey, Ben. I was wondering, over the winter, especially since the end of last season, the way the season unfolded, there was a lot of criticism of how the team was running, where it was going, and a lot of it was very personal from some people towards you. My question is, how do you, I know it goes along with the job, but how do you deal with that? Do you have certain people you go to kind of get away from that negativity, or do you have some hobbies that you dive into to try to get away from that?
Yeah, great question. I do think part of it is that, you don't chase down everything that's written, probably not sure it's good for any of us to do that. So aware that when you're not delivering to our fans at the level that we know we need to and are focused on, there's going to be criticism that comes with that, and it's the nature of the job. We talk internally all the time about the fact that we get to do this. It's not a right. It's not something that we have to do. We get to do it. We get to do something about delivering more to our fans. That gets us up every day, keeps us really motivated. We're really energized by it. We believe in what we can do here in Pittsburgh. We believe in what we're building. Excited about that. And yeah, along the way, there's there can be days when you feel that scrutiny or, just the sort of vibration that's coming. Rely on your coworkers, rely on family, rely on the people around you. But, it's a privilege to do these jobs. They're not given, and I've always felt that way. So keep our energy where it needs to be, which is on helping the Pirates be better.
Go ahead, Don Clemish.
I'm good.
Go ahead, Don Clemish. No, okay.
I'm good.
We'll skip Don. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Ben. There's been a lot of talk about communication with Kutch. Can you take us through what your communication has been like with Kutch this offseason and where you stand with him?
Yeah, well, first of all, as far as I'm concerned, Andrew will always be a Pirate. I think most people feel that way. I certainly speak for the organization, and that's how we feel. That no matter what, Andrew's a Pirate, and certainly our desire will be to continue to have a really strong relationship with him into the future, whatever that looks like. At the beginning of the offseason, when we spoke, what I shared was that, we felt like we needed to go into the offseason with a singular mindset, and that was, what puts this team in the best position to win more games in 2026. Really focus on that, to be singularly focused on the team, and that as we did that work, we would do the best we could to continue to share information with him about what that looked like, and we did the best we could to do that. Of course, we can always look back and reflect on communication. There's always a way to make it better, but that was our mindset going into the offseason. That really guided every decision that we've made. I feel confident that every decision we've made has been about what we believe is best for the team. And sometimes when you are making those decisions, they're going to be hard. Some of those decisions are hard, and I think that, again, that's the nature of these things. Tremendous respect for Andrew, and certainly our desire would be to have a strong relationship with him going forward. Right now, obviously focused on the guys that are here in Bradenton and getting ready to prepare for a season.
Go ahead, Jose.
Hey, Ben. Just wanted to kind of ask you about the pitching depth. Obviously, you have to kind of give to get. So you got to trade a guy like Mike Burrows. You got to trade a guy like Yohani Oviedo. Kind of takes away from the major league pitching depth. But how do you feel about just the efforts to kind of get more depth in the pitching staff? And obviously you get Jose Urquidy and you get Mike Clevenger on separate deals. But how do you kind of feel about just kind of regaining depth especially at the back end of the starting rotation?
Yeah, I think in terms of like pitchers that have come back onto the 40-man roster over the course of the offseason, adding Soto and Montgomery, obviously not necessarily in starters roles, but those are, we feel two really, really quality major league pitchers that are going to contribute to our 2026 team, pitch really valuable innings. Maybe not as many innings as a traditional starter would, but really valuable innings nonetheless. And then, we feel like the timing is good with Urquidy, second year off the Tommy John, coming back, relationship with Murph, a guy who was a dependable starter for the Houston Astros for a couple of years there before he hit some injuries. So we're excited to see where he is this spring. I do think more broadly, this is an area that we'll continue to look at as we get deeper into spring training. We're not going to stop looking for reinforcement or upgrade just because we're here. Now, it's also true that as we get into spring training, the free agent lists usually, kind of get a little shorter. So, maybe some of that focus shift towards trades, but we'll keep working at it. And but we're very confident in the group we have here. We've got a number of young guys in camp that some of which have touched the big league, some of which haven't, that we think can be part of that also. So confident, but also still working on it.
Go, Jason.
Ben, I know the Ozuna signing is not final, but he's also not the first player you guys have signed with some stuff in his past. You know, Domingo Herman, Aroldis Chapman. Just what sort of work goes into that when a player has I don't know how to describe it, just an incident or an alleged incident or something that you need to look into above the norm, and what gives you confidence that Ozuna will be fine?
Yeah, first of all, behavior that would lead to any sort of consequence, suspension, et cetera, is unacceptable. The behavior itself that leads to those things is unacceptable, not tolerated, not part of our culture, just period. And when those things have happened in an individual's past, we are doing as much work as we possibly can to assess the situation in whole, like what the details of that case was, and then also what's happened since then. What's the behavior been since then, not just from the individual, but from the perspective of people who have been around that individual. And ultimately, we make an assessment on is this person who we believe and we're making a bet will come into our environment and contribute positively. In some cases, we've decided that we're comfortable making that bet and we're recommending that. And in some cases, we've decided that we're not. And obviously, those cases, we don't hear about because we didn't make those calls. But it can happen both ways. It is case by case. In Ozuna's case, it was really, I would say it's three things. I think certainly first you start with what happened, learning as much as you can about that. And then obviously there was a consequence for that he suffered, and 100% support for the league's program around that. And then you go to like, how did he respond to that? Accountability from public reports and also what we could glean from our due diligence. He was accountable, responsible, remorseful. And then you get to the behavior since, and who has this person been, in this case in the Braves environment, since then, and all the information we got around there, from teammates, from staff, from others, led us to the conclusion that this is someone that we want to bring into our environment and believe can make a positive contribution. So that's the basics. Again, it's case by case, and in some cases we've decided to make the recommendation, and in some cases we decided not to. In Ozuna's case, we decided to make the recommendation.
Hey, Gordon, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, here in Goodyear covering the Reds, just in the context of the noise you guys have made this offseason with some of the moves and hitting acquisitions, how much of an opportunity did you see in this division given some of the trades like Peralta out of the defending champs? The Cardinals are in full tank mode now. And then also just kind of what's your thoughts on the Reds with some of the stuff they've done?
Yeah, the division's going to be tough. We see it as a really competitive division. Candidly, we saw it that way last year, and we didn't do our jobs well enough to capitalize on that. But believe it's going to be a very competitive division this year. You referenced the Cardinals kind of going through a little bit of a maybe reorganization, but there's still a lot of talent on that team. It's the Cardinals. You don't take them lightly. The Brewers and Cubs are sort of the teams that have set the pace at the top of the division, and that's what we're chasing. And the Reds are just incredibly talented, and proved that certainly late last year and pushing into the postseason. They got a lot of things going for them. So it's a really hard division. We know that we're going to have to be at our best to compete with it. We believe we can. I think it'll be a fun division. I think that not only competitive, but there's a ton of young, really exciting young players, young stars in the division. It'll be fun to be a part of it. We got to be really good to come out on top. That's our goal.
Kevin Gorman, go ahead. You're up next.
Ben, with your comments about Andrew McCutchen, you made it sound like that Ozuna, if Ozuna signs, that could close the door on Andrew McCutchen returning to the Pirates. Is that the case, or is there a crack left open for him to come back and maybe reduced role where he'd be more of a pinch hitter, a guy who could play a little bit of outfield and serve some time as DH?
I think this is a moment in time. And, I think there's a long time ahead of us. Forever is a long time. And I don't think the Pirates will never, completely shut the door on Andrew McCutchen. That's just, how we feel about him. That's not going to happen. There's a moment in time that we're in right now in Bradenton today, focused on the players that are here, focused on how do we get ready for the 2026 season. I think given the complexion of the roster, what we expect it to be here, as we get into full camp when position players arrive, I just think our focus will be on the players that are here. Longer term, we don't need to make any declaration about the longer term. Just focus on today right now.
Go ahead, Hannah.
Hi, Ben. We just talked to DK and just curious, his first time being the manager in spring. What are your thoughts or opinions on just the culture that he's cultivating and the standard that he's setting from day one, and whether that's been from the off season or just even day one at camp with pitchers and catchers? What do you think that standard is that he's setting? What are some of the things that you're noticing is Donnie's style as the manager in charge?
Well, not surprisingly, it's just not about himself. He's not making it about himself. He's making it about the Pirates. He's noticing the things that matter to him in terms of behavior, energy, focus, attention to detail, the things that he knows are going to add up to the culture that we need to be. He's noticing those things. He's calling those out. He's celebrating those things. But it's about the team. It's not about him. And I see someone who is really comfortable in his own skin, and obviously that's not surprising. We know him to be that way, but first Major League Spring Training as a manager is no easy thing, and he looks like he's been doing it for a while.
Theo, go ahead.
Ben, I was wondering all the years you've been here now with the Pirates, and I preface this by saying I realize your roster may not be complete yet, but do you feel this is the best team you bring in the spring training in the time you've been here?
Believe that from a spring training perspective and just thinking about the players that we'll have in camp, it's probably the deepest, most talented group we've had. We actually talked about this today in our first staff meeting. That sort of stops mattering today. Like all that matters today is, and from today on is, are we doing the things every day to give ourselves the best chance to win games when we go to New York and beyond during the season? So, belief in the players, yes, and also clear to me, clear to us that whatever the roster says, whatever the projections say, whatever the estimates say, whatever the prognostications say, we've got to go out and do the work that leads to winning baseball games. Keep our energy there, and I know that's what Donnie's singularly focused on. I believe that's what our players are singularly focused on. That'll be the job of spring training to make sure we're doing that.
Dominic, go ahead. All right, we'll skip. Oh, you there, Dominic?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just unmuted myself. Apologies. Ben, you spoke about wanting to make some more additions, left side of the infield, maybe outfield and left-handed pitching. Are you still angling to try and make some additions in those areas at this point of the offseason?
Yeah, I think we never stop working. I talked about the focus on the field. I think the players and coaches, certainly that's where their focus is, belief in the group that's here. We walk back up to the third floor of Pirate City and get back in our offices. We can still look at the computers and be on the phones and look out there and keep working to see if there are ways to improve the roster. I think on the pitching front, it's not about right or left for me. And again, maybe we'll chase some things down and not land anything. If we can add to the pitching depth between now and the season, we will. Left side of the infield is an area that we've been talking about this offseason, pursued some things, pursued different shapes of things, haven't really landed it, but we'll continue to look at that as we go through spring training and just stay opportunistic. But feel very confident that the group we have in uniform here is walking out in the field and they have a lot of confidence in themselves. They're not looking around waiting for who the next guy is walking in the door. There's a pretty good healthy belief in the group.
Go ahead, Colin.
Hey, Ben, you kind of just mentioned this a little bit with Dom's question, but with those further opportunities, with what else you hope to do this offseason, is it something where most of those opportunities you think would come through trades, or are you still in a position where a few more, where a free agent or two can still be added? Where do you see the team? Like, do you need to give up something to get something at this point in the offseason, or is there still opportunity to spend more, add to payroll, in your opinion?
Uh, I've had a lot of support from Bob, support and also just alignment on, the team and putting the team first and doing everything we possibly could, even and including some things that aren't easy to do that. So feel very fortunate about that. Bob's been really supportive, but I think, even more so, like we're very aligned on how important that is to continue to hunt for ways to get better. There's lots of different ways to do that, as you alluded to. When you get into spring training, again, the free agency list kind of starts to shorten out. Those opportunities start to get a little less, and so usually you get into spring training, a little bit more your energy goes towards trades, but we'll stay open-minded. We'll stay out there looking. Our jobs are to continue to hunt for ways to get better while the people in uniform focus on their part on the field.
Go ahead, Mike.
Ben, I think the Reds got in with 83 last year. Is that a number that you think gets you at least in contention? What do you think can get you over that 500 hump and get to that contention point? And did Bill Guerin pick the right guys for the U.S. national team?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, like 83 wins does give you a pretty good chance to get into the postseason, but that's not a number that we're going to be obviously, we're looking to beat that number. We're not going to be satisfied. We're looking past that number. That's our goal. Again, as I said, it's a really competitive division. We just got to go. We got to own the things that lead to winning. I think if you study really good teams, elite teams around the world, whatever sport it is, you notice they don't talk about winning. They just talk about and focus on the things that lead to winning. So that's Donnie's mantra. That's what he's focused on. That's where our energy is. What leads to winning. I'm very excited to watch Olympic hockey. That's all I can say. I've been watching the women's games, looking forward to the men's games starting. It's fascinating. Team construction for a short tournament like that is fascinating. No idea, but looking forward to watching the games.
You could be on the other end of that GM evaluation thing for a change.
We'll see.
Thank
you. Ethan, go ahead.
Hey, Ben, I was just kind of curious about the position battle at catcher going into spring training. Just what your thoughts on that are.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good one. We have 4 catchers on our 40-man. We believe all of them are capable of being primary catchers. Obviously, you can't have 4 primary catchers on one team, so that means we'll have some decisions to make. Certainly coming into camp, you think about what Joey Bart's done at the major league level. He's accomplished some things. He's a really talented offensive player who we believe that, he continues to work really hard on his defensive game, believe in him back there. He's entering into a time of his career where sometimes guys at that position take the next step, and that's not unheard of. So believe the best days are ahead for Joey. Then you go to Henry, who just has come so far as a defensive player to the point where, we think he impacts the game defensively. And to his credit, that's been a transformation. And to his credit, he's worked his tail off at it, become a really good defensive player. And there's a history of offense there in the minor leagues. It just hasn't matriculated at the major league level yet. The good news is he went into an off season, I think for the first time this past off season, with the full clarity of that, right? He had basically a full major league season worth of feedback. And when Henry gets feedback and he's focused on doing something about it, usually good things happen. So excited to see what Henry brings out this year. And then Rafael Flores and Andy Rodriguez are two like really talented young catchers who are on the roster who both of whom we believe can be everyday guys in the future. They both have a little less experience. Andy's obviously coming off a couple of years where he hasn't played much, so he's just got to play baseball. Flores has had not much time above AA. So just in terms of where they are in their career, maybe a little bit different spot, but we believe this is a strength of our 40 man. And you feel deep enough about catching until someone takes a foul tip. So we'll hold on to that depth as long as we can.
All right, and we'll close out with Kevin Gorman.
Ben, you mentioned the support of Bob Nutting and Travis Williams. They vowed before the start of the offseason that you would have the resources to be competitive this offseason. What has it been like? Because it appears that you're going to spend on Major League payroll, you're going to eclipse 100 million for the first time in franchise history. What's it been like to have that ability to spend on free agents or in trade capital and have that ability to be aggressive in the offseason? And do you feel like you took advantage of that with the spending that you made this offseason so far?
Well, first, again, as I said, really appreciate how supportive Bob has been through, some difficult decisions. They're not all easy, but with a singular focus on what's best for the team. I think a couple of things have happened, Kevin, over time that have gotten to us this point. First of all, it's an accumulation of a lot of things over time. Teams are not built in one off season and two off seasons. We've got players on our team today that have been with the Pirates for a long time, right? So nothing happens in one year. This has been an accumulation of things that has led us to this point where we felt the moves we made sense. And then a little bit of it probably related was, we made some decisions last July that created some room that probably, had some influence on the decisions we made this offseason. So a couple of things coming together there. I think we went into the offseason, we go into spring training with, again, a singular focus on the team, what's best for the team. We'll keep our eyes there, and we really appreciate the support we've gotten on that.
All right. Well, Ben, thank you for taking the time to join us today and everyone else as well. And that's going to do it here for us. And we will see all of you very soon.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys.